Calaroga Shark Media.
I'm Johnny Mack with your daily comedy news. Most of the news is related to the after parties at the Emmys. I'll cover that in the second half. That leaves me some room for something I wanted to address. Zach joined us on the Facebook group, which is Daily Comedy News Podcast Group. You are highly encouraged to join us. Just post something, and I'll approve you relatively quickly. We had to put up a gate because we were getting a lot of porn bots joining the conversation. We don't want them, but Zach's not a porn bot, and he said, I have a question. I've been listening for a while. Maybe I missed an episode, but what makes something a special or not a special? And I loved this question, and I put some thought into it, and I posted a response in the Facebook group, but I wanted to talk about it on the podcast. I do think there's some subjectivity here. It's kind of like, I'll just mention for the second time today, porn. You kind of know it when you see it. A naked statue is not porn, and at some point, I guess if you pose the statue in a certain way, it would become porn-ish. So I started with what's not a special, and I think the word special is being thrown around to mean anything where somebody is holding a microphone and telling jokes. The word's being thrown around by comedians for anything that's over 10 minutes. You'll see comics on social media go, check out my special on YouTube. And I think on a sliding scale, at some point we cross over from, hey, my friend filmed my club set and I posted it on YouTube. That's at one end of the scale. And on the other end of the scale, Chris Rock is live on Netflix addressing the slap, right? So that's clearly a special. And me going up at the Chuckle Hut and filming 10 minutes on a single camera and posting it on YouTube, not a special. So along that grade, where does it cross the line? I think we almost have to use a point system, and I'll explain. So the word special to me goes back to the 80s when HBO would be like, here's a special, and it's George Carlin at Carnegie Hall, and it's on HBO, and you got to pay to get HBO. Like, that was a special. Or even something like Bob Hope doing 4 of them a year around the holidays, but it was on NBC, and they promoted the heck out of it, and it was a big deal. Those were specials. A lot of the things that are out there now should probably just be called hours. All right, so what makes it a special? To me, and you'll have to assign some sort of points here, it's some combination of the theater and often a legacy theater in a town like the Fox Theater in Atlanta, or if, say, you did a show at the Vic in Chicago or the Chicago Theater, like one of those, Radio City. So I think the theater factors in. A stadium clearly would help make your cause for a special. The production values, how was it shot? Is it just a single cam at a club? Is it multi-shoot? Did somebody put some work into it? Possibly where it airs, I maybe unfairly take something more seriously if it airs on HBO or Netflix as opposed to just YouTube, but that might just be the old man in me and things are changing. That said, I think if YouTube went all in and said, hey, Jim Gaffigan has a live special at 8 o'clock on Saturday night on YouTube, I think that would be a special. And add to this some subjective ranking of how established the act is. So the examples I use in the Facebook group. If you told me Jim Gaffigan, Netflix, Fox Theater in Atlanta, that's a special. Matt Rife on Netflix, that might be more of an hour because he doesn't have the body of work. I'll give you an opposite example. If Jerry Seinfeld did an hour and it aired on Netflix and he filmed it in my garage, that to me would be a special. Is my garage a legendary venue? Not yet. But I think because it was, Jerry Seinfeld filmed something in a garage, that would make it special. Dave Chappelle in my backyard would be special. Joe List in my backyard, that's an hour. Great question, Zach. Appreciate it. And I'm not saying I'm right, and I'd love everyone else's thoughts on this. Again, join us in the Facebook group, Daily Comedy News Podcast Group. The South China Morning Post got in on Jo Koy. Seems some Filipinos have turned on Joe after the Golden Globes fiasco. One Twitter user said, my grandma survived World War II and she's never seen a Filipino bomb this hard. That got 8,000 likes. Another said Jo Koy brought her deep Filipino shame. Another user declared Jo Koy an embarrassment to all Filipinos. Why? Because he made a joke about TV covering Taylor Swift at football games? Really? We're turn on this guy? I thought he was a hero. A post on Facebook got 132,000 likes for Jo Koy's got cojones made of iron to accept that hosting responsibility. That alone deserves a round of applause. Another influencer on Facebook said, accepting the task in the very first place displays Jo Koy's Filipino courage. Courage is a little strong, too. Like I said, I'll host the Golden Globes cold. Call me 20 minutes before. I'll throw on a baseball cap and I'll read the cue cards and you guys can tell me I sucked. I'll take the gig. I don't think it's brave. Athena Presto is a sociologist at the University of the Philippines. Athena says Jo Koy's success comes from the fact that Filipinos want representation, especially because of our colonial history. For the longest time, some Filipinos have been finding it hard to think about a distinct cultural trait that we can call our own, so any affront to Jo Koy is seen as an affront to one's identity. Kel Faby, a comedy magician, said Jo Koy was out of his depth, saying, "Were some of his jokes inappropriate? Sure, but that never stopped people like Ricky Gervais before." Edward Chico is a Manila-based lawyer and stand-up comedian. Edward said, to a certain extent, Jo Koy was responsible for mainstreaming point-of-view comedy, as Filipinos prefer insult-based and slapstick comedy. Because of Jo Koy, it's now easy for stand-up comedians like me to find an audience. He paved the way, and I am thankful to him for that. Daniel Tosh commented on Taylor Swift. This was in December, this before the Golden Globes. Tosh said, "Here's what bothers me about Taylor Swift. I love everything about her, business savvy, all of it. I think she's a genius. But what I want to say is her song, the one song where she goes, 'We can leave the Christmas lights up till January.' I'm like, that's only effing 5 days after Christmas. It's not a big deal. 5 days after Christmas is not worthy of a lyric. Can you believe it? They left their Christmas lights up until January 2nd. He's referencing her 2019 song, Lover. Mark Curry is on Team Cat Williams. Mark was on the Willie D podcast. At first, he didn't talk about Steve Harvey by name, but he was addressing people stealing material. Mark Curry said, "If you steal his material, I'm a step to you. If you're stealing my crap, F you. I step to you. That doesn't mean it has to be a physical thing." Then he named names and said, "Take the Steve Harvey thing. It's a B-word move. Maybe he's not stealing my material, you know? I maybe give him the benefit of the doubt. Maybe one of his writers did it, but we all know whose material it is. It ain't about the money. Steve Harvey's got enough money, so it looked like you want some of me. You want to be me. Therefore, you ain't got enough money." I look at it like, all right, I'm a G in the game. You want to be me? You want my style. In 2020, Steve Harvey told Mark Curry that he needs to grow up and quit with the accusations. Harvey said at the time, "Mark Curry needs to grow up. Steve Harvey ain't been on stage since 2015. He doesn't know what he's talking about. He's making stuff up, so I'm in peace. The only reason I'm commenting is because he keeps running his mouth. Now grow up. Never stole a joke in 35 years. Come to me like a man and tell me what the joke is." Mark Curry is currently booked on Cat Williams' Dark Tour. That's fun. Here's a weird one. Joy Behar was on The View. Joy Behar said she was approached to play the role of Ted Lasso's mother, and she said she passed on the gig because she didn't want to travel to London during her heat wave. Joy said, "It was too hot. You remember? There was a heat wave going on at the time, like 100-degree weather, and I'd have to get on a plane and go to in the middle of the heat? No." Well, Jason Sudeikis and Brendan Hunt were asked about this. Sudeikis went, "Joy Behar from The View?" Brendan Hunt said, "Respectfully, it'd be news to us. We just work there." So I'm going to claim, I'm trying to get in a fight with everybody. I was asked to play Ted Lasso's older brother, but I declined it. It was too hot in London. I didn't feel like getting on a plane and filming. Jelly Roll has started a train for a 5K. He says, "I'm in the woods walking every morning." Why are you bringing it up, Johnny Mack? This is the 5K that Burt Kreischer and Tom Segura declared. They're actually doing this. Michelle Wolf is in. She said, "I could get my crap together for a 5K. Stavros Halkias said, "I want to get back in the zone. I'm going to be healthy." Louis C.K. said, "I'm going to tell you that I'm going to do it, then I'm definitely not going to do it." And he calls the 5K by the name, "This is Watch Burt Die." Jelly Roll is trying to get Zach Bryan to join the 5K. Zach Bryan said, "We're all here with you, brother. If I'm not playing, I'll be there." Netflix has released the trailer for Adam Sandler's upcoming sci-fi film. It'll be out in theaters on February 23rd and then on Netflix March 1st. It is directed by the guy who directed Chernobyl. Chernobyl's terrific, but I think director Johan Renck is slumming here. I have shared the trailer in the Facebook group, Daily Comedy News Podcast group. I'm going to play an excerpt here. I have scoped this down, meaning I made some edits so that it doesn't drag, because there's a lot of very lofty Sandler dialogue, followed by some pensive shots that's just music. So I scoped this down a little bit to give you the feel of the excellent dialogue in Adam Sandler's upcoming film.
On behalf of the Eurospace program, 189 days into your solo journey. Commander Prohatska, how are you feeling?
What I'm doing is for everyone back home, and that makes me very proud.
And your wife Lenka, of course. I'm sure she's looking forward to having you home safe and sound.
6 months in isolation. You start thinking too much.
I'm getting interference.
I did not intend to frighten you, skinny human. Do not be afraid.
I'm losing my mind.
You wish to know if I am real. I am like you, an explorer. Your loneliness intrigued me.
Why are you here?
I might be of help. I wish to assist you in your emotional distress.
I don't need your help.
But you do.
In Spaceman, Adam Sandler is 6 months into a solitary research mission to the edge of the solar system. He realizes that the marriage he left behind might not be waiting for him when he returns to Earth. Desperate to fix things with his life, he's helped by a mysterious creature from the beginning of time he finds hiding in the bowels of his ship. The mysterious creature works with Jacob to make sense of what went wrong before it's too late. Really? All right, let's look at the Emmys. People noticed when The Daily Show was winning the Emmy and Trevor Noah was speaking, Roy Wood Jr. was behind him and mouthed, "Please hire a host." He later responded to posts on Twitter saying, "Chill fam, I was trying to do that in the low." He included several laughing symbols. The Hollywood Reporter tracked Roy Wood Jr. down after the show and he said, "I was saying, please hire a host. I probably shouldn't have done it, but it's been going on too long. Get it together. But I'm so happy that Trevor won." Trevor said, when they announced that we had won, I was like, who's going to replace me? It's the second thing I thought of as well. I'm still thinking about that, and I will continue to think about it as I celebrate this amazing achievement. Does Trevor have any regrets? He says, when I see everybody here in the same place, I'd gladly come back and work with everyone. However, when I see what my schedule is on Wednesday, I wouldn't do it. Joel McHale and Ken Jeong had some fun at the Emmys at Jo Koy's expense. Joel McHale joked that the former Dr. Ken Jeong left his medical career not for acting, but because he'd killed a patient and was still facing a lawsuit over it. Ken joked back, "The instruments that almost killed that dude were the ones the nurses left in, okay? The ones that saved his life were the ones I left in. And besides, I only had the gig for 10 days at that point." There's some debate about The Bear. The Bear swept all the comedy awards. I'm a big fan of The Bear, and, I'm thinking about it. It's not a comedy. Might be the best show on TV. I'm a big fan, but it's not a comedy. Maybe we've gone full circle here to the beginning of the post, and I have to declare, all right, what makes something a comedy? I would say to be a comedy, you have to at least be attempting to make jokes. Like Adam Sandler's work is terrible, but he's at least trying to be funny. I'm not sure The Bear is even trying to be funny. Ebon Moss-Bacharach won supporting actor in a comedy series for the show, and he argued, quote, "These ideas about comedy and drama are a little bit outdated." No, they're not. No, they're not. Like, you can't tell me, like, True Detective is a comedy. It's not. He suggested, we're all just trying to reflect the mess of being human, which is deeply hilarious, and we're all suffering. Yes, but that's not a comedy. Like, I'm not about to tell you a story about murders. It's not what we do here. Anyway, that's your comedy news for today. If you enjoy the program, tell a friend about it. They might like it too. You can support the show at buymeacoffee.com/dailycomedynews. It's Wednesday. It's trivia night, so I'll be at trivia. It's dry January, though, so I'll be buying some Birch beer. They have wonderful Birch beer. So if you want to buy me a Birch beer, buymeacoffee.com/dailycomedynews. If you enjoy trivia, we've got a new podcast. It's called 5 Daily Trivia Questions. Monday through Friday, there are 5 trivia questions. Nice quick way to start your day after this program. In and out. Play along. Check that one out. It's a lot of fun. See you tomorrow.